I hold in my hands a proposed bill in the Minnesota Senate that proves once and for all that Republicans are not interested in leadership. They're not interested in serious governance in the United States. This is a bill that would give legal grounds and change the definition of mental illness to include, in the state of Minnesota, to include Trump derangement syndrome as an actual diagnosable mental illness. With all of the problems that Republicans said we faced as a nation, inflation and the many wars and all of the difficulties that are faced by us, according to Republicans. So all of the things. This is the thing that they're setting their attention to. With the finite hours in the day, with the finite ability to focus on and change the many problems that face us, this is what they set their attention to. They don't care about leadership. They don't even care about seriousness. I'm going to read a little bit from this, but first, let me read from this Alpha News. It is a conservative, slapshod, clown show website. And this is how they categorize this. They do a little reporting on it. This should make sites like the Daily Caller and the Daily Wire and the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal and Newsmax and Fox News blush at how they're not really getting it done as a propaganda organization. Here's the headline. Minnesota Republicans introduced bill to classify Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness. Quote, "We are simply trying to help those who don't realize they have a mental illness," said Senator Nathan Wesenberg, one of the authors of the bill. A group of Minnesota Senate Republicans have introduced a bill to classify Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness. The bill, Senate File 2589, is being carried by Republican Senators Eric Lucero. Remember these names, by the way. I was going to go through and put together slides of all of the insane things these people have said and done, but it proved to be a far longer task than I had originally thought. Just up front, this Lucero guy, the very first guy they mentioned, spoke at a rally to promote storming the Capitol while they watched on a live feed of the insurrection taking place and cheering it on. That's what this guy is. This is a guy who rambles about conspiracy theories, about chemtrails, and the most wacky shit you've ever heard. And he is at the tip of the spear here on this nonsense. Here are the names again. Senators Eric Lucero, all Republicans, by the way, Steve Drazkowski, Nathan Wesenberg, you just heard about, Justin Eichorn, and Glenn Gruenhagen. Is that how to say it? Let me know if you're a Finn or a Swede or a Scandinavian or from Deutschland or whatever that is. Gruenhagen. It would add the term Trump derangement syndrome to a definition of mental illness in state statute. The bill defines Trump derangement syndrome as the acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal persons. That's exactly how you want medical and psychological journals to talk about people who are normative relative to their cognition. You want them to call them normal. Yeah, it will not come as any shock to you that none of these dipshits have any training or education or understanding or just general acuity related to psychology or the diagnosis of different psychological conditions. Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome. Symptoms may include Trump-induced general hysteria, which produces an inability to distinguish between legitimate policy differences and signs of psychic pathology in President Donald J. Trump's behavior, the bill states. Trump derangement syndrome may be exhibited in verbal expressions of intense hostility toward President Trump or overt acts of aggression and violence against his supporters, according to the bill. Overt acts of aggression or violence? Do you think, dipshits, how many morons are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you five morons think that the violence that has been visited upon American citizens is at the hands of those afflicted with Trump derangement syndrome? Did you not witness? I know you did, Lucero. I know you did witness the insurrection against the country, the attempted overthrow of our government, the violent insurrection on January 6, 2021, where police officers were beaten with American flags, where weapons were fired, where people died. That violence was at the hands of your people. If there's Trump derangement syndrome, it's on the part of Trump supporters. Mental illness can come in all shapes and forms, and an irrational fear of something is not healthy. We are simply trying to help those who don't realize they have a mental illness, Senator Wesenberg told Alpha News. President Trump's campaign arm responded to the bill on social media by publishing an image of Governor Tim Walz exhibiting a symptom of Trump derangement syndrome, commonly referred to as TDSIs. Yeah. So the bill, I actually don't need to go through and read all of it, or much of it at all, because of the fact that they just covered a lot of it. But this is official. This has been forwarded on to out of committee to be voted on as a serious measure. They are wasting time. They are wasting their effort when they could be setting their sights on the problems that they could not stop talking about during the campaign. Apparently, all of the many problems that faced our nation and the state of Minnesota are completely solved just by virtue of the fact that Donald Trump exists inside the White House. Just because Donald Trump lays his greasy head on a pillow every night inside the White House, the problems have been solved. And now they can set their attention to jokes, because this is not serious. Trump derangement syndrome is an internet phenomenon to troll liberals, to troll. It's the same thing with liberal tears. Are they gonna create a new medical diagnosis for liberal tears and create eye drops to help the affliction of liberal tears? This is idiot talk. This is the actions of five morons who have nothing better to do than waste the money that they're being paid to be senators in the state legislature. It's what it is. If there's a mental illness, we'll stop there. Because one, this disrespects actual mental illness. This disrespects the conditions that people are afflicted with, schizophrenia all across the board. And what would you expect anything other than cruelty and unseriousness from Republicans? Anyway, what do you think? If you live in Minnesota, I'd love to hear what you think. If you live in one of these dipshits' district, I would really love to know what you think. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please consider helping produce this work, helping me reach the some months, tens of millions of people that I do. I would love to have your support. You can click the join button below, see what's involved to become a channel member for $2 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Not just for the podcast, absolutely supports this show as well. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.